Hey everybody, Ryan here at etrailer.com. Today we have our Fleetwood Tioga and we're going to be taking a look at our steps. Now, as you can see, the electric steps currently function properly. However, there's a couple issues. The first step is way high off the ground. So if you have trouble getting up and down the stairs, this can make it unsafe getting in and out of your motorhome. They're also pretty wobbly, and that can cause you to lose your footing as well. Our new steps are going to be a great replacement and upgrade over these current ones. It's going to add an additional step, which is going to put the last one a lot closer to the ground. So that's going to make it a lot easier for us to get up and down. Something you don't always think about as well is if you have small pets. That might be hard for them to get up and down when it sits up so high. Then that means you're going to have to bend over to pick them up. Well, with this one down here, that might allow them to easily get up and down without your help needed. These are definitely going to solve the problem of your step being too high off the ground. As you can see, this first one is really easy to reach, and they're also nice and wide. That way they're easy to travel up. Now each step does have some grip tape. That way it ensures a good footing, and they also have a bright yellow line to help you see in low light situations. As you can see, our steps retract pretty quick, and now it's simple to get in and out of our motorhome. Now these steps do have a couple of safety features. One of them being, say if you retract your steps and there's a curb here and they can't come out all the way, if it feels enough pressure, it'll actually turn off power to the motor. That way it won't overheat or burn up any wiring or your motor. Same thing on the inside. If something happens to get inside of here and the steps go in, it's going to feel that pressure and turn off the power. Another cool safety feature is when you have the steps in this position, when you have the power turned off on them, that way they'll stay fixed in this position, or in other words, they won't work when you open and close the door. If you happen to forget about turning the switch back on and you go to leave and put the key in the ignition, as soon as you put that key in the ignition and turn it forward, the steps are going to come up regardless. I'll show you that now. Even though we added another step, when they're in the stored position, they're going to fit nicely in our opening. As you can see, the built-in light underneath will help you even more when it's nighttime. Now I went ahead and measured the step, and on flat ground here, from the ground to the top of the step, is about 15 inches. Something you got to keep in mind is you're probably not always going to be on perfectly level ground. So if you are parked and the ground is beveled down, that 15 inches could potentially turn into 20 or more. From this step to the top of this one is right under 8 inches. Now, although the distance between these two steps don't change, the distance from our bottom step to the ground is only 7 inches as compared to the old one, which was 15. The entry height will be 21 7/8 of an inch. The step dimensions will be 24 inches wide by 11 1/8 of an inch deep. Our mounting bracket is going to be 23 3/4 of an inch wide by 9 5/8 of an inch tall, and finally 11 3/8 of an inch deep. Our drop and rise is going to be 8 inches. These steps are very durable and do have a 300-pound weight limit. That's a pretty straightforward installation. I'll show you how to do it now. To begin our installation, we're going to want our original steps to be extended. Go ahead and open our door to get them in that position. Then what we're going to want to do is make sure the power to our steps is turned off. To remove our old steps, we're going to need to work underneath them right here. Now here on the bottom of the step, you can see we have our electric motor and all the connections. We're going to want to undo those connections. For these style of connections, you simply push up on this tab and pull them apart from each other. For this style, there will be a tab in the center, and I want to push down on it and pull it out. There's going to be a bolt in each corner of the top of the step holding our steps into place. we're going to have to remove those to drop our steps down. Now whenever we're turning this, the top or the head of the bolt is going to want to spin as well. So we're going to take a box wrench to keep that head of the bolt from spinning. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave 2 of these, one on each side, just hand tight. That way when we remove the rest of them, the steps won't come falling down on us, and it'll be a little more manageable to get them down completely. To help us safely, completely lower down our steps, before I take out the last 2 hand-tied bolts, what I did was I actually took a floor jack and a block of wood and put upward pressure on the bottom of our stair here, and that way it's holding it tight against the bracing. That way we can then remove our last 2 hand-tight bolts, and then we can actually get out from underneath the motorhome and slowly lower our jack to get the steps out. With all of our hardware out, we can then hold our steps with our hand and at the same time lower our jack stand down. We can actually pull them out from underneath the motorhome. Alright, I went ahead and put our new steps on our floor jack. That way it's easier to wheel back under the motorhome, and then we can use the floor jack to lift it up into place. Now these are going to mount in the same exact way as our old ones did. Now if you want to, you can reuse your hardware if it's in good condition, or you can use new hardware. We're going to use some new hardware. You can pick it up from your local hardware store. You do just want to make sure that you have a flat washer right underneath the head of your bolt. And so it's going to drop in like this. And then on the bottom side of this step, we're going to want to use a flat washer and a nylon locking nut. We went ahead and used our floor jack to put upward pressure on our new steps up against the frame, and that way we could line our holes up and drop our new hardware through. Now with the steps in this position, we're only going to be able to install the 2 bolts closest to the center of the motorhome. So with those in place, we're going to tighten them down, move our floor jack out of the way, and then we can focus on hooking up power to our motor. And once it's powered up, we can let the steps down and install the other 2 bolts. Now I went ahead and moved our floor jack out of the way, and now we can plug in our electrical connections. Now it is a good idea, even though we turn the power off to our steps, to go ahead and close that door, just in case there is any residual power, the steps won't retract down. Alright, I went ahead and turned the power on and opened up our door to retract our steps. Now with them in this position, we have enough room to be able to secure the rest of our hardware. This green wire with the pre-attached ring terminal, this is going to be a chassis ground wire. So you're going to want to secure this somewhere along the chassis. Well, it's convenient right here in our frame. There's actually a bolt coming through connected to the chassis. So what we're going to do is remove this, and then put our ring terminal over that bolt, and re-secure it all down. Now I went ahead and just used a few zip ties to secure our wiring up and out of the way. Now with everything bolted up and all of our electrical connections made, we can go ahead and test the operation and make sure everything works properly. And that'll do it for our look at and installation of the Lippert Kwikee 25 Series electric steps on our 2008 Fleetwood Tioga Motorhome.